how to actually control your thoughts. Now, there's so many methods out there. There's mindfulness, meditation, and being in the present moment. Now, what if I told you the best way to control your thoughts is to not control them? Because the truth is, you can never control your thoughts. And all these methods where you're trying to control your thoughts, will kind of work at the initial stages, but deep down inside, in the long term, it doesn't really make sense for you to control them. Your thoughts are like water, and water has to flow. Imagine trying to stop water. I mean, you can hold it for a while, but eventually, like even if you build a dam around it, the dam is going to overflow, or worst case, it's going to break. So when I say don't control your thoughts, and how do you actually deal with all these negative thoughts, negative emotions that kind of come up, instead of trying to control them, learn how to navigate them, learn how to handle them. All right. The smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. Only rough waters make a skilled sailor. In a similar way, like only if you learn how to handle all these negative thoughts, all these negative emotions that you experience, only then it'll be easier for you to, navigate them instead of controlling them. Because when you come from this place of controlling, there's this mechanism, there's this too much importance given to, oh my God, I just feel all these negative emotions on the inside. I feel so much pain, anger, and I must control them. If you're just controlling them, if you are stopping them, how the hell are you going to let out those emotions? How the hell are you going to heal from all that anger? How the hell are you going to let go of the pain that you have been holding on the inside for such a long time? So that is what, when you try to control this, all right, even when it comes to meditation, right, the point of meditation is you learn how to deal with those inner voices inside your head. You learn how to deal with your own inner demons. You learn how to, just regulate your emotions, navigate it through all these, emotional baggage that comes up, and you learn how to live in the present moment. Now, if you go into meditation thinking that, oh, okay, I will just learn how to control this, and you put so much force and emphasis on controlling each and every single thought that that comes across your mind. I mean, it is basically impossible. You cannot control what you feel. If you feel angry, you cannot control that mechanism. You cannot switch that off. I mean, sometimes people just get numb instead of actually facing their fears. They just want to be numb. They don't want to feel anything, and they go resort to certain things such as drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, in order to not feel their emotions. But your initial thought, you cannot control. You cannot control your first initial reaction, but you can control somehow up to a certain limit. Like you can control how you deal with them. All right, how you deal with that emotion of anger. How do you deal with that emotion of pain, envy, regret? How do you actually deal with it? And that is why meditation is one of the best practices out there. It is not just about controlling your thoughts. It's about learning how to process all these negative thoughts, process all these negative emotions on the inside, and then eventually be in a state or be in a place where you don't have any major trigger. When you face any minor inconvenience, you don't lose your shit just because somebody said something offensive, and you don't lose your shit and punch a wall just because you spilled coffee over. I mean, it's just one small negative event happens at the beginning of your day, and then you just milk that out for your entire day, or worse, for weeks, for months, or even years. And it's like you were losing out on life. You were losing out on time. I mean, we like to imagine the fact that we always have time, but what if things could go wrong tomorrow? Things could go wrong the week after, or the next minute. You don't even know. So when you are obsessing over controlling each and every thought that comes up in your mind, you're controlling each and every emotion that comes up on the inside. What you're basically doing is you're overthinking, you're overanalyzing, and this is a never-ending cycle. And you can never really control any of these thoughts on the inside, but you can control how you deal with them. You can control your emotional reaction and how you decide to progress with these emotional baggage that is holding you back. Like if you feel so much pain and anger on the inside, how do you deal with them? You just let go of it, or you just learn how to process these emotions, and eventually you will not be thinking back on that negative event that happened. Oh my God, I need to control my thoughts. You can never control your thoughts. or just being in the present moment. Of course, you're going to experience certain things which are not really pleasant. You're going to experience certain things which are amazing, which are awesome, which are, outworldly. All right, but you should not be so attached into, controlling the outcome of your mind, because your mind is an ocean. An ocean is vast and you can't really control, but you can learn how to navigate the seas like a skilled sailor. So don't be afraid of rough waters. All right, don't always wish for shallow waters, because shallow waters never made a skilled sailor. In a similar way, just a, stagnant, a stable, emotional self never really helps you to deal with all the negative experiences, all the negative emotions and thoughts. So it's okay if you experience all these negative thoughts. Let them come in your mind. Let them, just fill up your body, feel them to the fullest, and let it go. And eventually it'll be so much more easier for you to just stay in the present moment and not be obsessing over controlling each and every negative emotion and thoughts that kind of come across your mind. Again, now it is easier said than done, because most of the times, if you actually look back and how you are processing your emotions, it's like all these thoughts come up, all right, and you're trying to control. You're like, why am I feeling so angry? Okay, I must not feel angry. And you're trying to reject this idea of so and so called negative emotions, and you are not, allowing yourself to experience these emotions to the fullest. You're not allowing yourself to experience all the negative things in life. You're not allowing yourself to kind of, just embrace all the pain. Because if you don't embrace all your pain the fullest, you can't really heal from it. It's like fear. If you don't face your fears, if you don't acknowledge your fears, how are you going to overcome your fear? So basically, it's the same thing, because when you're trying to control, like, I must only feel positive emotions. I must only think positive thoughts. Now, this is basically society conditioning you over the years. It's like they have taught you not to, think about bad thoughts. Think about like these thoughts are so and so called bad. These thoughts are so and so called good. And now you feel guilty for thinking about all these, negative things in your head. And now you're trying to control yourself. Now you just have to deprogram yourself from what was the norm set by your environment, set by society while you were growing up, and tell yourself like it's kind of okay, because it's the yin and the yang principle. Where there's light, there's also a little bit of darkness. When there's dark, where there's dark, there's also a little bit of light. So positive and negative cannot exist without each other. They are codependent. So when you experience positive things, positive thoughts, positive emotions, there are also negative thoughts, negative emotions. Now, without limiting yourself, by kind of forcing yourself to just think about positive thoughts, it's doing more harm than good. So allow yourself to experience these negative emotions to the fullest, and then let go of it. And then it'll be so much more easier for you to actually navigate your mind and not, just impose this control mechanism on these negative thoughts. So hope that helps. Thank you for watching.